Hello everyone! In our previous videos we learned about handling exceptions that Java throws automatically, like arithmetic exception when dividing by 0. But what if you want to throw an exception yourself manually based on your own condition? That's exactly what today's topic covers, which is the throw keyword in Java. The throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception from your code manually at a specific point in your program. When Java encounters a throw statement, it immediately stops execution of the current method and looks for a matching catch block to handle the exception. And this is the syntax. Is the throw keyword, new keyword, and then the type of exception, exception type, and then parentheses and semicolon. You can write your message here, whatever you would like to add. So think of it like a fire alarm. Normally a fire alarm goes off automatically when it detects smoke, but you can also pull it manually when you see a fire, even before the smoke detector triggers. The throw keyword is exactly that, a manual alarm that you trigger when you detect a problematic condition in your code. When throwing an exception, you can use two types of constructors. One is non-parameterized, with no message, like here, if I cut this part, it is a non-parameterized constructor and there is not any message. But if I paste it here, we have a parameterized constructor with a custom message, and this allows an arithmetic exception or any kind of exception with your own meaningful message attached. And please remember, always use the parameterized constructor because a meaningful message makes debugging and error handling much clearer and easier. So now let's see the throw keyword in a complete example. Imagine we have a variable named a equals 0, and now I want to write a try block for this one. It's good if you make the outer structure first, like first is the try block and then it is the catch block. So as I said, I want to manually write my own exception. So for example, I say if. You already know how to write an if statement, the if keyword in parentheses, then curly braces. I say if the value of a is equal to 0 through new, and it is an arithmetic exception, and here it depends on me if I want to write any kind of message. For example, value of a, I mean the variable, should not be 0. For the catch bar, here we write the name of the class exception, which is arithmetic exception, then the object, and here I say when you catch this exception, print exception caught, and then show me the actual exception message. So if this try, catch, and throw works perfectly, this message will be printed. Program continues normally. Let me run the program. Yep. When the value of a is 0, we throw a new exception with the last value of a should not be 0. And when the exception is catching, it prints as exception caught and the actual message. So a is 0 as I said. So the if condition is true and through is executed, and Java immediately stops execution inside the try block, and the println inside try to never runs if I add another statement here like this statement never shows if the a is 0. Now let me run the program. Yeah, because the value of a is 0, this statement is not gonna be shown. And then after that, as I say, this statement won't be printed. Then control jumps to the catch block, which catches the arithmetic exception. And A also contains the exception object, printing it shows the full exception name and the message. So and after the catch, the program continues normally. Now let's look at a more practical example using foo for input validation. Let me just remove this part. Imagine we have a variable named I with value of 1, and then we have int j is equal 18 divided by I and semicolon. So now let me ask to print result plus j. Run the program. Result is 18 because 18 divided by 1 is 18. Now let's write a try catch block. As I say, it's a good practice to first write the structure and then complete it. So let me first write my critical statement and see my condition if the value of j is equal to 0, through a new exception, arithmetic exception, and I want to print result should not be 0 and semicolon. I think I have a typo here, arithmetic exception, yes. Yeah. Now let me just copy this part, paste it here, and then the object in here, and then when the exception is got, this message should be printed. Arithmetic exception is cut, and then the message should be printed. Also, can you remember that once we say that exception class is the parent class of all exception class, so in case we have any exception which is unexpected, we can also add this exception or catch block at the end to avoid any unexpected exception. For example, some other exception cut. It's a good practice to add this block at the end of each catch block. So now let me run the program. Yeah, everything works very well because the value of j is not 0. What if I say if the value of j is equal to 18? Now here we have an exception call. And as you can see, we have arithmetic exception is called, the message is printed from here and with the actual message, and then the result should not be 0 from the through syntax. So the point is that if j ever became 18, The through fires and the catch handles it with our custom message, and this shows how through is used for manual validation, and you can check condition yourself and through when something should not proceed. And let's quickly clarify the difference between through and try catch. Through is used to raise an exception. You're saying, for example, something went wrong here, and try catch is used to handle an exception, and you are saying if something goes wrong, here is what to do. I mean, they work together, and through raises the exception, catch catches and handles it. So let me run the program one more time. So as you can see, the arithmetic exception is caught, is here, and then we have the E, which contains the exception message, and then this message from the through part is also printed. Result should not be 0. We said 0 here, maybe we can fix it to 18. So that is the through keyword in Java. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe the channel so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.